everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts. And today we are talking about SAO, Alicization, War of Underworld, aka Saddest Sad Times of all the sad. And today we are discussing its second episode, titled Raids, which is a very fitting title. Before we get into it though, I do want to remind you all that if you would like to have your name shouted out in next week's SAO video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout your name out in next week's video. Okay, now with that said, we gotta talk about two things in this week's episode, and like I said, the title is very fitting because the two things we gotta talk about are the raid on Ruild Village, and then we gotta talk about the raid on the Ocean Turtle. Basically, the whole episode is separated into two halves, one being the Ruild Village raid, and the other being the Ocean Turtle raid. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Ruild Village raid, because that's the one that I feel like I have the most to say, and it's also the one that I felt was the more enjoyable half of the episode. The first half is definitely the more fun. Everything within Ruild and within Underworld is typically the more fun stuff, whereas like the Ocean Turtle, if any of you guys saw my videos during Season 1, the old and a minute style videos, you'll know that the Ocean Turtle was a place that I was never really like over the moon about visiting. It's fun in the sense that the science and the make-believe technology is interesting, but a lot of it is a lot of technobabble. It's not horribly interesting, whereas at least the stuff with Underworld is, you know, it's an isekai. It's the isekai part of the show, and it's hard to not like isekai, even when isekai seems to be bombarding us left, right, and center every season. It's still fun to see characters with swords wield magic and fight big monsters. It's just fun. So the stuff with Underworld continues to be the more interesting parts of Alicization, and it's seeing it like almost burn down, like seeing Ruild Village almost go down, should have been really intimidating and scary and sad. But instead, it's more triumphant than one may expect following the first episode. The first episode, like I said, was absolutely phenomenal in setting up this sort of vibe of just utter sadness. Whereas this week's episode, it's still there, and the Kirito scene that opens the episode is particularly sad. But this week's episode does want to push that the characters aren't helpless, and that there is triumph to be had in these difficult times, as Alice and Asuna are quick to point out. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the opening Kirito scene, because I genuinely think that was, while quick and probably most people won't really point it out, I thought that scene was absolutely soul-crushing, because Kirito he crawls out of bed, he can hardly move, and he's crawling towards the swords on pure instinct, on just the fact that it's all muscle memory at this point. And we learned that that's basically the case during the Ocean Turtle part of the episode, where Kirito doesn't really know who he is, doesn't know what his mission is, and is basically just running on like the basic muscle memory that makes up who he used to be. And that is messed up and sad. Like the idea that Kirito is just, he's so defeated and broken by all the events that happened, by the short circuit at the end of the first part of Alicization, by his own self-inflicted, just like his own hatred for himself, like in losing Yu-Gi-Oh. All of this has just weighed him down completely to the point where he's essentially comatose. He's still able to move and make small gestures, but he is running on total muscle memory. And seeing him like crawl his way towards his sword because he hears people in need and all he could do is reach for the sword. That's what he knows, but he's too weak and feeble. He just can't do it. Now listen, like I know Kirito is Kirito and we all like to make fun of him and yada 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 yada, but that really got me for some reason. I was like, damn, like Kirito, I've always been of the mind that Kirito is best in an ensemble. If the show is specifically about him, then he's not as interesting. He's like Jack Sparrow, where if the story becomes about Jack, it's less interesting. Jack works better as an ensemble. He might be the big hero who saves the day and all that. and he might be the most flashy one there with the coolest sword technique. But he's also just, on his own, it's too much, and you need an ensemble for them. And Kirito, that's how I view him. He needs to be in an ensemble, and when he is in an ensemble, it's his best work. Like, think back to the whole Sleeping Knights arc. Kirito arriving to stall the others and give them time to get into the boss room and take down the boss. To me, that was a prime Kirito moment because he's not taking away anyone else's spotlight. It's still about Yui and Asuna and the Sleeping Knights. But he is buying them time. It's a cool moment to show that Kirito's a big-time badass, but he's also giving Asuna her time in the spotlight, her time to be the Kirito of the group, and letting Yui and the Sleeping Knights get into the boss room so that they can finally do what they wanted to do. That scene is my favorite Kirito scene, but this one, from this episode, Kirito just broken and crawling towards his sword because that's all he can do. Yeah, that's probably my second favorite. Kirito, strong showing for Kirito. Komato's Kirito truly is best Kirito. I saw that joke in the comments in the last video, but I'm starting to think it wasn't a joke. But to get to the actual raid on the village, of course it's goblins, and I believe it was like pigmen, so moblins from Zelda. But of course it was goblins. Where's Goblin Slayer when you need him? Actually, speaking of which, where is Goblin Slayer Season 2? But anyway, where is GS? Where is GS when we need him, right? But you know what? We don't need him because we have Alice and Yamayori who just totally lay waste to these things. Now, I will say, as triumphant of a note as it is, and I love that Alice has this big, like, I am Alice Synthesis 30. Like it was just this cool moment. But I have issue with the Ruild Village thing. Not big issues, because I like that it ends on a triumphant note. We kind of needed a win after last week's, like, feels train. But I almost wonder if Ruild got off easy, which is cruel to say because I like Ruild and I don't want anything bad to happen to the people who live there, except maybe that one dude who's like a real tool to Alice for no reason. I don't even really want anything bad to happen to the dad. The dad has his reasons for doing what he does, even though I don't agree and I think he's being a jerk. I understand to an extent. I don't want anything bad to happen, but I was kind of surprised with how light everybody got off. I had expected this to take up the whole episode, but it really only takes up the first half. It's not really an issue, it's just something worth noting, I suppose. However, like I said, the whole I am Alice Synthesis 30, an Integrity Knight, like that moment made me go like, yeah, girl, get it! I was proud, but at the same time, why would you not say that from the get-go? Like, I thought, like, in fact, I was watching this going like, yeah, wait, you didn't tell them this? Like, I was kind of like, wait, what, huh? I guess she was trying to shield them from the fact that the admin is gone, that the religion that they base their world on is technically kind of lies. Like the Integrity Knights aren't sent from heaven, they're people. So I guess she was trying to save them from that, but like that realization, but at the same time, you should have probably said something, like at least tell them like the Integrity Knights are from heaven, but I was trained under that. It's like something, anything. But at the same time, like, I'm sure she has her reasons. It does seem a little hackneyed. There's even like a line in here at some point like, we can't abandon my mansion, I mean the village. I'm like, geez, dink. It's a little on the nose. Yeah, like there's points here where I was like, come on now. Like little wee writing moments that I'm like, I don't agree with that. It's a little too on the nose. It's a little too cheese, or like a little too convenient. But at the same time, like I said, it was nice to have a big win. And I mean, come on, you can't tell me that you weren't happy to see the golden flowers return when Alice whips out the sword and starts like laying waste to goblins. It's a good moment. I like it. I like the fact that Alice is like, you know what? I might not have the same strength I did to wield this sword, but this, I can do this. And I was like she doesn't say that, but that's kind of like what you get from that scene. And Alice saying that like, I will fight for what Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh tried to preserve. It's like, dang, my heart, my precious boy, he's still gone. Yu-Gi-Oh. It's never gonna, like, I'm never gonna be over that. My son, my boy, Yu-Gi-Oh. It's not okay. It's not okay. But you know what is okay? Alice kicking the goblins and the moblins and saving the village, and then bringing Kirito with her to the Integrity Knights. I don't know why, because I feel like maybe Kirito should have stayed with Selka. Because then, like, you could have had Kirito, like, recover and then come back and make a save at the last second, like, since he would have been, like, farther away from Alice. But at the same time, you kind of have to keep Alice and Kirito together at this point in the story, so I get it. But exciting! Alice is actually going back and getting ready to fight to save Underworld. It's gonna be interesting going forward, at least the Underworld stuff. But like I said, the ocean turtle stuff is not bad. I can't say that I was just like that. I ever had a point where I was like, ugh, get on with it. I was like, okay, like sort of like nodding. I'm like, all right, okay. A lot of techno babble. I'm not getting all of this, like that kind of thing. Where I was like, okay, I don't super get it. And every time I say fluct light, I feel like I'm like just not sure what I'm saying. But I don't necessarily get the pseudoscience and the technobabble, but at the same time I kind of get the basic gist of it. And it's just kind of nice to see Asuna, if I'm totally honest. Asuna and I can't remember the characters in the Ocean Turtle. The only one I don't like is the dude in the kimono, because he's kind of a tool. But the other characters are great. Like the blonde kid, I think is really fun and cool. I like that guy. And Rinko, the former love interest of our boy Kayaba Akihiko. Yes, I had to look those names up. But Rinko, I also really dig. I just like her connection to the former guild leader and creator of SAO, and I kind of want more from her, and I want more from her time with Akihiko. I know that we got a lot of that in the first part of Alicization, but I still want more, because I just find those two really interesting, and I don't think they're being utilized really well, or at least not enough. And y'all know that I love Asuna. I will protect Asuna to the day I am dust. Asuna is the freaking best. I don't care what anybody says. Asuna's great. And I'm also 110% sure that Asuna's gonna take that other rig and dive into Underworld to save her boy, save her man. I just want Asuna to like come back and remind Kirito of who he is. Like do a sleep, you know what? Do like a Snow White or Sleepy Beauty thing where like Asuna, but it's like reversed, where like Kirito's all comatose and Asuna comes back and kisses him, and like it brings back all his memories. You may as well. This is basically a fairy tale already as it is. I'm sure so many people just rolled their eyes, but like, listen, it'd be fun and it'd be cute and I ship it, so leave me alone. But yeah, everybody, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this week's episode of SAO. I would have to give this week's a B. I still think it was really good. I enjoyed my time with it. I didn't love it the same way that I loved the first episode, but it's still a good time. On that note, everybody, that just about wraps everything up. But before we go, as always, I want to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Calvin Atkinson, Crowbar of Irony, Dominic, Urza, Ginkotaku, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Mirth Mouser, Omner Garamond, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Steven, Tristan, and Verdun. Thank you all so much for your continued support over on Patreon, and hey, if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then by all means go ahead and check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get for as little as $1 a month, and get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. But on that note, everybody, that's going to be a video, so I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, you've probably been on the internet long enough to know what to do already, so I ain't going to tell you, but I will say that it is appreciated, and if you are feeling stressed out today, then you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.